The national anthem, please. Thank you very much. Kindly take your seats, everyone. You're all warmly welcome. Today's very important event, the Cross-Border Digital Payments and Identity in Nigeria under the AfCFTA. Before we make any progress, I'd like to make some quick recognitions. And for want of time, I'll make it as brief as possible. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to have with us the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadejia. Please a round of applause for him. Also present here is the Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation and MSMEs. Please, young people, a thunderous round of applause for Temitola Adekunle Johnson. Thank you for joining us. Also present is Dr. Salihu Dasuki, Special Assistant to the President on ICT Policy. Please a round of applause for him. Also here in the room is Shuda Ahmed, Special Assistant on Project Support, Office of the Vice President. Please let's celebrate her with a warm round of applause. I'd also like to recognize the Principal Research Fellow at ODI Global, ODI, Overseas Development Institute. Please let's celebrate Dr. Maximiliano Parr. Thank you for joining us for this conversation. Maybe I should say Buenos Dias. That's more like it. You're welcome. Also present in the room for the conversation is Chika Nwosu, Managing Director of PalmPay. I'd also like to celebrate Dr. Prachi Agwal, a researcher at ODI Global. Please, a warm round of applause for her. It's also important to mention we have our very own Lola, but I've been hearing Lola in the room. Lola Awaranti Ekugo from AfriBorder. A round of applause. Thank you for joining us, madam. And all other guests here present, I'll quickly mention, with your kind permission, the Deputy Chief of Staff. We have different MDAs here represented. We have the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy. We have representative from the Federal Ministry of Finance, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment. Of course, the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development is also here represented. We also have a representative from the Ministry of Marine and Blue Economy, as well as the Ministry of Interior. Heads of key government agencies are also here represented. We have a representative of the Central Bank Governor with us, a representative from the Independent National Electoral Commission, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Independent Corrupt Practices Commission, as well as the Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit. Heads of core economic, trade, and financial institutions here present, kindly permit me to run through this recognition. We have the Federal Inland Revenue Service, the Nigeria Customs Service, the Nigeria Export-Import Bank, Nigeria Export Promotion Council, the Nigeria Deposit Insurance Corporation, as well as the Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission. Also present, we have representatives from digital economy and identity regulatory agencies, which include the National Identity Management Commission, the National Information Technology Development Agency, the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, as well as the Nigerian Communications Commission, and not leaving out Galaxy Backbone. Administrative, legal, and business regulation agencies here present. We have Corporate Affairs Commission, Standards Organization of Nigeria, the Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission, and we also have Security, Population, and Public Service agencies, which include the Nigerian Immigration Service, the Federal Road Safety Corps, the National Population Commission. And yes, the MSMEs are also well represented in this gathering. We have Small and Medium Enterprises Development Agency of Nigeria and the Nigeria AfCFTA Coordination Office. And yes, the financial institutions that are here present, because this is very important, and it's good that they are part of this conversation. We have representatives from InterSwitch, eTransact, PalmPay, OPay Digital, Zenith Bank, VerifyMe, YouVerify, MasterCard, Pamish, and Shop Wallets. Private sector, BGR Consulting, Kickoff Africa, AfriBorder, Africa International Trade and Commerce are also here represented. Please, a warm round of applause for yourselves, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd quickly like to apologize for starting behind schedule. Not intentional in any way. You're all warmly welcome. And as I already mentioned, in no time we'll be out of here as soon as we're done with the main reason we are gathered. It's indeed an honor to welcome you to the high-level gathering on building Nigeria's digital trade infrastructure, cross-border payments, digital identity, and global markets. Today, we stand at the intersection of innovation and opportunity, where technology is not just transforming how we transact, but redefining how Nigeria connects, competes, and thrives within Africa and the global economy. As we explore pathways to seamless cross-border payments and trusted digital identity systems under the AfCFTA, this event offers more than dialogue. It is a call to action for collaboration, inclusion, and sustainable growth. And on behalf of the organizers, I warmly welcome you once again. My name is Ian Ray John. I'm a broadcast journalist with the Nigerian Television Authority, and it is an honor to be your director of ceremony today. Without wasting any more time, I'd like to make welcome a key figure in Nigeria's digital transformation and technology policy space. A brilliant, a result-oriented, analytical, smart, and indeed an inspiration to many young Nigerians. I must also mention that at a very young age of 25, he earned his PhD, which I'm sure you would all agree is a great feat for a Nigerian outside the shores of Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate the accomplished and distinguished gentleman. He is the Special Advisor on ICT Policy, Office of the Vice President. Please, a thunderous round of applause for Dr. Salihu Dasuki as he comes forward for his remarks. Let's celebrate him some more.
Good day, everyone. Your Excellency, the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Senator Ibrahim Hadija, Your Excellency, Tola Adekunle Johnson, Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation and SMEs, distinguished girls, heads of agencies, I want to welcome you all to this very, very important gathering. And more importantly, a key aspect of what this digital economy policy is all about, which is how do we drive SMEs to really transact in the whole idea of digital economy, particularly with digital trade. In the past 3 years since the assumption of this office, particularly the Renewed Agenda, one of the key aspects the Office of the Vice President has been pushing on is on digital trade. How can Nigeria harness this digital trade? And with the support of the Office of the Vice President, specifically the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, we've been able to coordinate agencies in order to drive this digital trade. Particularly 2 years ago, we launched the digital trade strategy in the banquet hall in which the Vice President actually launched it. Last year also, to drive the whole idea of digital trade, we had capacity building programs for subnationals for them to understand what is there about digital trade. How can states also harness the use of what digital technologies in order to drive trade at the subnational level. But more importantly, we found out that without just talking about trade, if you want to trade within the African continent, then you need to be able to make payments. How are the issues affecting SMEs in driving this payment? And with the support of ODI and also the coordination of the Vice President and also the leadership of Federal Ministry of Health, Trade and Investment and all agencies across, we've been able to come up today with a framework on how is it that we can push this cross-border payments, but more importantly also with identity as well. So today is going to be the launch of this report that is going to be shared with all agencies, and hopefully we're going to also have a coordinated action plan with the Office of the Vice President in order to drive this so that it can be adopted across all the agencies. So more importantly, without taking too much of your time and talking too much in this stage, I just want to welcome you guys all. I want to thank everyone for coming, and hopefully we're going to have a great event today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Salihu Dasuki. That's one voice you want to hear all the time. So much intellect and so much to offer to Nigeria and indeed the government of the day. Once again, let's celebrate Dr. Salihu Dasuki. Thank you for the great work that you're doing in the Office of the ICT Policy. It's now time to hear another very vibrant voice, this time female. And she is indeed changing the narrative. You know what to say, what a man can do, a woman can do better. I don't know if all the men agree in the room, but I can say for sure that she's indeed a trailblazer. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I make welcome Shuda Ahmed, SC on Project Support, Office of the Vice President, for her remarks. Put your hands together. Women, please, let's celebrate our own.
Good morning, Your Excellency, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadija, our able Special Advisor, Mr. Tola, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the launch of the report of the Cross-Border Digital Payments and Identity under AfCFTA. Africa's economic future depends on the cross-border digital payment systems, and in this journey, in the Office of the Vice President, we have partners like ODI. And the ODI, we want to acknowledge your efforts and your contributions to ensuring the execution of this strategy. Through this collaboration, we have developed 2 digital strategies for Nigeria. One is a report on cross-border digital payments, and the other is under the identity of AfCFTA. These are the tools that we need to provide evidence that there are insights and they can answer difficult questions. Without seamless, efficient, and affordable cross-border payment systems, MSMEs and businesses around Africa will not be able to scale beyond borders. Especially without interoperable digital identity systems, we cannot unlock the full potential of trade. So today, we have the launch of this program, and I want to thank ODI for also cascading the capacity building training that they provided for states. Thank you very much, and welcome to the launch.
Thank you so much, Shuda Ahmed. Now time to listen to an accomplished researcher and thought leader. His work spans continents, shaping how countries understand trade, unlock economic opportunities, and engage in global markets. He's not just anybody. He's someone with deep expertise in international trade and development, and his insights continue to influence policy decisions and economic strategies around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I make welcome Dr. Marx Mendez Parra, all the way from Argentina, as he comes for his remarks. Please, let's give him the African welcome, or if you like, the Nigerian welcome.
Thank you. Good morning, Your Excellencies, all protocols observed. Always a joy being back here in Abuja, in Nigeria. And again, basically, with this great work that, supporting this great work that Nigeria has been undertaken in relation to the digital economy. Our program supported investment and trade in Africa has been designed with the support of the UK government to assist the continent and specific countries, one of them, Nigeria, to negotiate first and implement the AfCFTA. And specific in the area of digital trade is where we have seen much of the advances in that task. And particularly Nigeria has been one of the leaders there. And we are very glad to have teamed up with the Office of the Vice Presidency and the Federal Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment to support specifically this work, where, as we said, is for the program implementation is not just to put what was in an agreement into domestic legislation, it's actually support on everything else around that. And we spotted, we know, basically, the government spotted that digital payments and digital identities were one of those areas that you need to develop if you want to have a successful digital sector in Nigeria. When we're talking about digital payments, when we're talking in particular about digital identities, it's about the issue of trust. It is those two aspects what are facilitating the expansion of e-commerce, the expansion of digital services across the continent, and particularly the leadership of Nigeria in that area. So we team up with the government, but also with Lola from AfriBorder and Son, that unfortunately cannot be here, from the Africa International Trade and Commerce Research, to local research organizations to work on that and deliver these two reports that we are going to present today. So again, thank you very much for being here. Also, thank you very much to the Office of the Vice Presidents and the Federal Ministry for their trust on us. Now we're talking about trust on digital. The trust on us, and for us, is always a pleasure and a joy, actually, to work with Nigeria and to support Nigeria on this area. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Maximiliano. Thank you for that brief remark, and thank you for the partnership. Argentina and Nigeria, for those of you who are football lovers, you know they are World Cup rivals. You agree, right? All right. Argentina has actually defeated Nigeria in 5 separate World Cup group stages. I think Nigeria is about to change that, by the way. The Deputy Chief of Staff agrees with me, so yes. But you know what they say, collaboration is the new competition. So Argentina is doing so much with Nigeria in so many sectors just so that we can advance as a people. Thank you once again, Maximiliano Mendes Para. Next to speak to us is a powerhouse in Nigeria's economic and entrepreneurial space. I'm sure you're wondering who I'm talking about. As someone who is dynamic, results-driven, and a passionate leader. He's young, he's vibrant, and relentlessly committed to impact. His work continues to shape the future of enterprise and innovation in Nigeria. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I make welcome the Special Advisor to the President on Job Creation and MSMEs, Temitola Adekunle Johnson.
Good morning, everybody. Your Excellency, the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, our boss and our leader, so good morning. The leadership and management of OD Group, good morning and thank you. Thank you and thank you. Thank you very much for all the support you've been providing to Saliu and Shuda. Thank you very, very much. The government is aware of all your support and will continue to encourage you to continue to do all the things you're doing for them. Whatever it is that you need us to do as a government, knock on the door, we are available. All the partners that are in the room today, thank you very much for being here. I want to acknowledge you all too. Now, to Dr. Saliu. You see, when you are appointed in government, they give you your TOR, especially in the presidency. They give you what they offer, what they need to do for you is to give you the appointment and tell you this and this are what you need to do. So the tar is on you to run with it. The tar is on you to make something of your appointment. This Dr. Saliu is a very unique human being. To be honest, is an extremely sound but humble and wanting to learn person. Our paths crossed 3 years ago, and I assured him, I said, listen, I'm always going to be there for you. Always, because I have people who are always there for me because he's got a drive. And same with Shuda. When they approached me and said they wanted to, they needed a path. And a few months later, they chose their own path and they've run with it. The deputy chief of staff is here. It's like short notice, but once he heard it was both of them, he quickly came. And same with me. Now, ladies and gentlemen, why are we here? We are here today to sort of launch something that is very, very important, that will help the space. I happen to be one of the coordinators, the MSME space. You see, this has been a menace in the past. What is the history of cross-border digital payments? You know, in the past, it was largely informal and mostly cash-based. Do you all agree? Largely informal and mostly cash-based. But with the introduction of BVN and NIN, it has come to sort of help to bring a lot of the small businesses into the bucket, if you agree with me. But one of the issues in the past too was the over-reliance on dollar. Do you know in the past, if you have a transaction with Ghana, they will have to convert Naira to dollar, then from the other side they'll have to convert cedi to dollar. But I hear that that is gradually changing with the help of a lot of people in the room today, and thank you for that. What we hope to see ultimately is seamless, what we hope to see is seamless access to markets for the small businesses as a result of what it is that you guys are doing. Seamless access to the markets for the MSMEs. And to build credible digital database. That is very important. Now in rounding up, I must quote some of the statistics and data provided by the sources, the NBS, the MSME Africa, and the World Bank. We all know it's often overstated. Again and again and again, we have close to 39 million MSMEs. Responsible for 39 million MSMEs, responsible for about 44 to 50% of the GDP, 84 to 88% of the workforce. But we also know that only 6.2%, I don't know how far this has changed now, only 6.2% of this SME have access to, were involved in export transaction. Only 6.2. And only 60% have access to digital facilities such as POS. Only 60%. 1.8% has been captured as having digital access. 1.8%. So 60% lack the access. 1.8% have been confirmed. This is World Bank, NBS, and MSME Africa. This is not me. So I think in secondary school you can always estimate to the nearest figure. Let's say that 1.8%, let's move it to 2%. Let's move it to 2 full percent for the purpose of our argument today. So let's say we have 62%. Ladies and gentlemen, where is the unbanked and undigitalized 38%? It should be part of the answers that we're expecting from you all. That 38%, we need to bring them into the formal markets and the buckets. Before I go, I must also state that we have 91% of businesses in Nigeria relying on informal platforms to run their businesses. Informal platforms such as WhatsApp to run their businesses. It's mind-boggling. 91% is huge. It's a lot. 91% rely on WhatsApp to do business transaction. It's not going to take us anywhere. So that you guys have chosen this space and you have been committed to it means a lot. So I want to thank everyone that is involved in this space. Oh, lastly, also, there's 5%, only 5% have access to bank credit. 5%, that should be, 5% should be 1 in every 20. If my math is still right. I think 1 in 20. Yes, 1 in every 20. So 5% have access to bank credit. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, if those statistics are right, we need to double our efforts, and I have no doubt in my mind that with the sort of people, the sort of collaborations we're seeing in the room today, and we know that this didn't just start today, with the sort of energy and efforts that you guys are putting into it, we're sure that we'll get some positive results. And lastly, to say to Mr. Massimiliano, I might not be able to physically watch any of the World Cup matches because we'll be here. But I hear, I don't know if it's for a fact, I hear that you have Messi's number. So I would like to call him. I would like you to link me up with Messi, basically. That's the only favor I need. Ladies and gentlemen, the Deputy Chief of Staff, accurate kind people, I hope with these few words of mine, I've been able to convince you and not to confuse you all that this whole meeting is a worthwhile meeting. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Temitola Adekunle. I hear that Messi is now merciful, right? All right. Thank you so much for those very impactful words, and thank you for re-echoing the great personality of Dr. Salihu Dasuki. I've met quite a number of people because of my job. I get to interact with the high, the low, being a journalist and working with Africa's largest TV network, the NTA. But I must say that Dr. Salihu Dasuki is a rare Nigerian. Besides being humble, you need to sit with him for 5 minutes to understand how much depth he has. When he speaks on a subject, he speaks in totality. And I must say that we should give him another round of applause. Thank you so much. And to the Deputy Chief of Staff who is here, I would like you to please extend our warm regards and thanks to the President, because young people are excited because of the appointments that we see in this administration. We see so many young people who are doing so much. So when they say that the young people are, of course, the leaders, we're seeing it in this administration. Thank you so much, sir. Now time to make some progress, and it's now time to hear from the Managing Director of Pound Pay. Please, a round of applause for Mr. Chika Onwosu. A round of applause for him as it comes forward, after which it will be time for the report presentation, which will be done by Dr. Prachi Agwal from ODI.
Good morning, Your Excellency, the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President, Senator Ibrahim Hassan. Good morning, Your Excellency, the Special Advisor to the President on SME and job creation. Permit me to stand on the existing protocol. It is a privilege to join this important conversation on Nigerian cross-border digital payments and digital identity framework. The African Continental Free Trade Area represents one of the most significant economic opportunities for our continent. But for the opportunity to translate into growth, it must be supported by practical systems that make trade easier, safer, and more inclusive for all. Two of the most important of these systems are trusted payment infrastructure and credible digital identity. Within Nigeria, we have also seen the importance of continual infrastructure improvement across payment ecosystem. PAMPE was pleased to be the first fintech to support the launch of the National Payment Stack, which makes an important step towards faster, more reliable, and more interoperable digital transactions. At PAMPE, our experience has shown that financial inclusion does not end with access alone. True inclusion means individuals and businesses are connected to a reliable infrastructure, building their resilience to formally participate in the economy today and tomorrow. Since launching of PAMPay in 2019, we have grown into a financial ecosystem, supporting millions of customers, businesses, agents. At every stage of our growth, we have seen how important easy-to-use, reliable payment rails are for economic activities, plus high standard for security, like data encryption, fraud monitoring. So those payments happen safely. We have also seen that for many small businesses, one of the biggest barriers to their growth is not just access to payment, but access to identity, structure, visibility. That is why this conversation is timely. If we are all to maximize opportunities under AfCFTA, we must build systems that inspire trust, strengthen verification, and make it easier for business of all sizes to participate. This will require strong collaboration between government, regulators, financial institutions, identity agencies, and fintech players. Nigeria has the scale, the talent, and the innovation capacity to lead in this area. What matters now is how effectively we connect policy with execution and ambition with practical systems that work for every people and businesses. We commend this initiative and the broader commitment to build frameworks that support a more connected, inclusive, and a competitive African economy. At PAMPay, we remain committed to supporting Nigerian digital financial future in ways that expand inclusion, strengthen trust, and make everyday financial services simpler, safer, and more rewarding. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, PAMPay. Indeed, that's the way we make payments these days, moving away from traditional banks. Thank you. Next is the report presentation, and it's on cross-border digital payments and identity in Nigeria under AfCFTA. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together as I make welcome Dr. Prachi Agarwal from OD Global. Please celebrate her as she comes forward for this brief presentation, after which we would have questions answered. And yes, we'll move to the highest point of this conversation. Thank you, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, Senator Ibrahim Hassan Hadija, and standing on other existing protocols. Welcome to everybody who took the time today in the morning, Monday morning, to be here today. Thank you very much. We are very excited to launch our report and some of the findings from what we found. And we undertook this research with many local partners. It would not have been possible without, obviously, Dr. Salihu Dasuki and his team at the Office of the Vice President. Our local partners, AfriBorder, Ms. Lola, who everyone knows, Kickoff Africa, and Africa International Trade and Commerce Research. So thank you very much, and I'm just, all right. Starting off, I want to take you through some of the success Nigeria has had in digital trade. So of course, as it's already been stated, we have ODI Global and the UK government, in association with the Nigerian government, has been supporting digital trade in Nigeria, especially under the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement in the last 3 years. Today, Nigeria boasts of about a massive ecosystem of digital payments and digital identity. Almost 20, the latest data we have shows that approximately, I think, 22 billion electronic transactions have taken place in just 6 months in, I think, 2024. And it boasts of world-class domestic real-time payment capacity and capabilities. within the identity system, there has been foundational digital identity systems in Nigeria where over 121 million national identification numbers and about 66 million bank verification numbers, or BVN as you know, have been issued, strengthening trust and in financial access to Nigerians to integrate in digital systems, digital payments, digital trade, but also trade, cross-border trade in general. Nigeria has become a continental leader, to be honest, when it comes to digital trade. And of course, they were also named the co-champions for their strategic role in shaping Africa's digital trade architecture by the African Union last year. There have been major domestic policies that have been aligned with the AfCFTA Digital Trade Protocol, including on real-time payments, infrastructure, digital identity expansion, improved data governance, and e-commerce policy reforms. Moreover, Nigeria also leads the participation in PAPS, which is the Pan-African Payment System, with 22 Nigerian banks today connected with the PAPS, allowing intra-Africa digital payments. Nigeria is one of the only countries which has so many different commercial banks attached to the PAPS network today, providing the technical backbone for local currency transactions across Africa, something which already has been mentioned has been quite difficult over the years. Digital infrastructure has been expanding rapidly in the country, and with broadband investment, I mean, I don't have to tell you, you have been leading that change on fintech innovation and digital public infrastructure and national payment programs. So finally, what I want to say here is that Nigeria has demonstrated the readiness at scale for operationalizing the AfCFTA digital trade protocol. So that is where we stand today. Okay, we've already highlighted this, that ODI has been providing support to this particular initiative through the implementation of the Digital Trade Protocol, and we helped develop the National Digital Trade Strategy 2 years ago, where His Excellency Senator Kashim Shettima did mention that he thinks e-commerce, BPO, and women and youth are going to be the backbone of digital trade in Nigeria. So moving on, we did a massive research undertaking and where we identified challenges and recommendations for how to grow the e-commerce and the BPO sector in Nigeria last year. Where we identified, with the government, we were able to identify that digital payments and identity is something where the next natural step is going to look like. So today we are here to talk about that. The aim of this report, of this study, was to gauge the interoperability of Nigeria's digital payment system with others on the continent, as well as identify best practices for what Nigeria's digital ID system can look like. So this is the methodology we used. Of course, it was based on desk-based research because we've been here for 3 years and doing this work, but also we were able to map AfCFTA provisions on what is available for digital trade, digital identity and payments within the provisions, so that Nigeria is on par with what is happening on the continental level. We were also able to map other African experiences as well as what is happening at the ECOWAS, where Nigeria is a part, to see what kind of practices exist and what kind of harmonization is needed to be done. Earlier last year, we were here in Abuja and in Lagos. The team was here to hold stakeholder meetings with the public sector and private sector, where I would say, I mean, being very honest, it was one of the most enriching experiences I've had as a researcher, to be honest, because everyone showed up, everyone was so open to sharing information. We don't usually get that when we talk to stakeholders. And there was just so much honesty and candor that I really, really appreciate and respect. So thank you for sharing what you shared with us, and I think some of you here today met us then as well. And this report and research has been possible because you showed up, so thank you very much for that. We also were able to conduct online surveys because we couldn't meet everybody on opportunities and challenges with businesses, what kind of issues are they facing with identity and with payment systems in Nigeria today. So just a quick one on what is happening with the AfCFTA and ECOWAS initiatives on payments and identity. So obviously we know the AfCFTA Digital Trade Protocol has been a blueprint for African digital trade. It talks about digital payments and electronic transactions, identities, infrastructure, governance of data, cross-border data transfers, cybersecurity, online consumer protection, as well as intellectual property rights, technology and innovation within digital trade. Within the ECOWAS, ECOWAS has been already driving a lot of harmonization. We know data roaming already exists within the ECOWAS countries. The cross-border, there's been a lot of infrastructural development on cross-border payments as well, on ID verification solutions, trade finance services, and digital documentation, so that what is being traded between, say, Nigeria and Ghana can happen quicker than it does at the moment. Some key ECOWAS initiatives have been obviously the unified payment framework that exists, as well as the payments and settlement system under the ECOWAS, the digital identity, the West African Unique Identification Number, and the Supplementary Act of 2010, which talks about data protection and storage across ECOWAS partners. So, sorry. We also were able to see what is happening in Nigeria right now. Who are these players? Who are the backbone of digital trade in Nigeria? So of course, we tried to map the public sector. I'm sorry if you have been excluded or some of your partners have been, but we tried to do what we could based on the research and the stakeholder convenings we did. Of course, there are a lot of different players within the public sector in Nigeria that are working on digital trade, on identities and payment systems, noting some of the extraordinary work by the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Corporate Affairs Commission, the National Identity Management Commission, the National Information Technology Development Agency, and others who have been part of this journey. That is for digital payments. For digital identity, of course, there are lots of different initiatives in Nigeria, as some of the business owners here would know, because you have gone through the process of obtaining different kinds of certifications. What I'm alluding to is, yes, there are lots of different agencies working on this, but I'm also alluding to the fact that there are a lot of agencies working on this, and sometimes the coordination is something we found to be slightly difficult for businesses or for firms to actually undertake. So, you know, we have representation from the SME department, and I mean, you would agree, sir, that SMEs find it very, very difficult to do all of these different processes. So there's national identification number, the BVN, bank verification, the CAC registration, and then the TIN number, and the systems for award management, and the interbank settlement system identification number, the legal entity identifiers, and of course, we haven't even talked about the African entity identifier, the AEI, which companies are required to be on to make sure they can trade with one another within Africa, and they can identify who this company is, what are their credentials, can we build trust, can we trade with them, yes or no? I mean, all of that matters on how digital identity is built these days, because we don't know who we are trading with, we don't see them, we don't meet them, everything happens online. So I think identity and trust has become the central backbone of everything we're doing in digital trade today. Obviously, acknowledging also the private sector, the role that they play, the banks, fintechs, switch and settlement players. We have InterSwitch here today as well, who've been doing extremely excellent work on this. Mobile money operators, I mean, we know that mobile money is king in Africa if it's not cash. So they have been also doing several initiatives. Digital ID providers in Nigeria and payment network providers. So with this background in mind, I want to bring you to the last bit. What did we find? So we did all this background research. We found some challenges, but also a lot of opportunities. What challenges did we find? One, like I said, there are fragmented agencies or systems that exist in payments and ID systems. So there are multiple corporate identifiers across agencies that I just mentioned. That does create a lot of verification delays. It creates, it's very costly for SMEs especially to actually get access to them, to these different systems, to make sure that they have all the verification, all the paperwork ready before they can engage in digital trade. Banks have we also spoke to a number of banks, and the banks have been reporting recurring delays when it comes to ID verification across borders and document checks. So some document which has been produced in Nigeria may not be, say, accepted in Kenya or in South Africa, and we need to make sure that that happens. We also found low adoption of cross-border IDs within Nigeria. There's a low uptake of the legal entity identity, which undermines automated know your business system that exists and the cross-border payments processing. We also noticed that there are that firms have been reporting again and again very high costs of doing transactions as well as bottlenecks. So for example, SMEs face a remittance cost of about 8 to 10% higher than larger companies, and please correct me if that number is different. They also face lots of foreign exchange constraints. So as it was rightly mentioned, if a Ghanaian CD has to come to, transferred into a Nigerian naira, it has to first go through a dollar. That is of course changing, but for SMEs, that is still a very high cost for them. And finally, we also found some limited governance coordination when it comes to these systems. So there is a lack of central coordinating body for this, and a lot of public sector and private sector players last year when we met with them, they did tell us that a central body would be very helpful in coordinating all the efforts across agencies. So that is the negative or the bad side of things, right? But we also see lots of positive things. We see that Nigeria has the opportunity of becoming the leader in Pan-African payment systems. Nigeria has been growing tremendously, as I mentioned earlier, and they are one of the only countries who are on PAPS systems doing so well with PAPS today. So they are in a position to actually become a leader on the continent. And I was just talking to someone earlier today as well, and I mentioned the same thing, and they agreed with me. So it's always good when the private sector agrees with your recommendations, that this is one of the most imminent requirements, that Nigeria positions itself as a leader when it comes to digital payments on the continent. Of course, there's a massive opportunity to get SMEs included in this process. SMEs make up 80 to 90% of businesses, and I think it's very, very important that they become part of this journey that Nigeria is on at the moment. And finally, there is also scope for something a little bit more technical, and I'm going to leave it to the experts, but API interoperability, widespread adoption of API-based automated cross-border compliance, and standards harmonization to make sure that what works in one country also works in another country. So, finally, last 2 minutes, sorry. What can Nigeria do better? And I think this is very important, and I'm glad you're all here today, so I hope you agree with me. Two things. One, on a domestic front, what can Nigeria do? Nigeria can have a corporate ID integration that can happen, connect the CAC, the NIMC, the FIRS, EFCC, and other financial institutions into one coordinating body, or make them work together. Second, scale PAPS. Today, only 22 commercial banks in Nigeria are on PAPS. Let's get all of them on PAPS so that they can start making payments with other countries and get SMEs. Give them advice, give them technical assistance, give them financial assistance to get them on PAPS. I think it is very, very important so that there is support on risk-based verification systems, and it can simplify a lot of foreign exchange processes for SMEs. Third would be to enhance interoperability, and we've talked about that, all the way supporting SMEs. I think SMEs are the backbone of digital trade in Africa, also in Nigeria. To make sure that all of this is aligned with what is happening at the AfCFTA level and at the continental level, which is the future, I think there is an important need for mutual recognition of digital identities across borders. So we can reduce duplication of effort, of paperwork. Nigerian ID or national NIN can be recognized in a different country. Everyone knows what it looks like. Everyone knows there's a standard, a standardization that has happened on national IDs. We need more payments connectivity, expand direct access to continental rails, reduce reliance on correspondent banks, making it easier for payments to take place faster and easier. The third thing we need, I think this is very important, is regulatory passporting. We need to establish an arrangement with the AfCFTA partners, with other countries in ECOWAS, but also beyond ECOWAS, to make sure there's harmonization in oversight and accelerating payment systems. And finally, using cross-border data flows, making sure it actually works, where data storage happens, how governance will take place. All of these different initiatives is something we should be doing to make sure, know your business verification is easier for SMEs and for all companies. So I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much for your attention. And I do hope you agree with some of my things, and I'm happy to talk after this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I thought you would clap better for her. Thank you, ODI, for that very detailed research. We do sincerely appreciate you. And of course, thank you for the partnership with the federal government. Great economies are built through partnerships, innovation, and bold decisions. And if you listened clearly to her, if trade is the engine of growth, then digital payments and digital identity are the fuel. And that's why this conversation is very important. So I'm sure we paid attention to that very brief, if you like, explanation of the research. If we have questions, anyone in the room? Do we have questions? Do we have comments? We have some suggestions or recommendations as regards that research. Anyone in the room? All right, so I'm sure when we get a detailed copy of that research, I'm sure would have questions, and of course that can be channeled to ODI Global and the Office of the ICT Policy right here in Nigeria. All right, thank you. Next is a very important part of this conversation, and if you like, I can call it the highest point of this conversation, and that's because we're about to listen to a seasoned public servant, someone who is very committed to the government of the day and to the betterment of Nigeria. He's a respected statesman and a key figure in government coordination and policy implementation at the highest level of governance. He has so many years of experience, I cannot count, in public service, legislation, and administration, and he continues to play a very important role in advancing national development policies and supporting the implementation of key government programs and reforms. Ladies and gentlemen, may we please rise as we make welcome the Deputy Chief of Staff to the President as he gives his remarks. Let's celebrate him. Put your hands together for him.
Thank you very much. Please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. The protocols have been established, but I think I will single out our principal partners, ODI, PAMPay, and of course, the very hard-working aides in the Office of the Vice President, Tola, Shuda, and Dr. Salu. It's a pleasure to join you today for the launch of this very important report on cross-border digital payments and identity under the AfCFTA. Allow me to start by once again acknowledging OD Global and its partners, along with PAMPay, for the continued support to the Office of the Vice President. This support goes beyond this report and includes the earlier development and launch of Nigeria's digital trade strategy and the capacity building program for our subnational leaders. The Office of the Vice President is in a very unique position to do what we are doing today. In essence, it's a catalyst, and because it's an office that has the convening power to essentially bring, public sector, private sector together to, if I can say, facilitate delivery of some of these issues. Within the office, we not only handle the issues of digital trade and especially AfCFTA, we also have the Presidential Institute of Doing Business Council, which is chaired by the Vice President. We have a dedication to financial inclusion headed by a technical advisor. And of course, we even try to facilitate digital addressing, not to compete or take over the mandate of any ministry or agency, but simply because we have the convening power to ensure that we bring together various ministries, whether it's the central bank, whether it's the bankers committee. We are in that unique position essentially to bring people together so we can catalyze and speed up some of these processes without necessarily disrupting the mandate of these MDAs. The contributions of our partners have been crucial in strengthening our collective preparedness for digital trade, and it has helped to place Nigeria at the forefront of preparedness for the AfCFTA's imminent resurgence. This work is both timely and strategic, with strong coordination from the Office of the Vice President, like I mentioned, and leadership from the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. Nigeria is increasingly assuming a leading role in shaping the digital trade agenda across the African continent. And as the largest economy in Africa, depending on which parameters you are looking at, we should be at the forefront of pushing AfCFTA. As we deepen our engagement with AfCFTA, enabling our businesses, especially SMEs, to carry out seamless transactions across borders will be crucial for unlocking trade, fostering growth, and creating jobs. Efficient cross-border payments supported by trusted digital identity systems will be key to realizing this vision. And again, just like was mentioned in the report, the Pan-African payment and settlement system is essentially just a platform, and it will be driven by the activities of the palm pays of this world, the money points, and so on and so forth. These fintechs, of which Nigeria hosts possibly the largest and most active number, are the ones that will drive the settlement system. Otherwise, it's just a platform that has been in existence for years. When we talk about the fact that to engage in inter-African settlement, you need to first go to Citibank, New York, or Morgan Stanley. And it's estimated that this costs between $5 to maybe $5.5 billion annually in transactional costs. Imagine a situation where we can domesticate that locally, and I have a sneaky feeling that PalmPay is not just looking at facilitating a talk shows about this, but they're looking at those opportunities. Again, just like was mentioned again in the report, we need to go beyond large ticket customers. What will drive intra-African trade is not necessarily the giants, but small businesses, of course, enabled by digital trade and e-commerce, which is why the trust issue and the identification issue is very, very important. And then lastly, maybe the logistics. You'll be surprised now at the number of transport companies that have bus services across the West African region. And in so doing, they actually get involved in some of the logistics for this trade. We're looking at a situation where that grows to a level where there will be a dedicated logistics opportunity for Nigerian entrepreneurs to participate in. And again, I must commend our fintechs, possibly not just because PalmPay is here, because of the revolution that has taken place in Nigeria. We take for granted some of the things that we see in the fintech space, transfers of money from your phone, not realizing that some of the Western countries are just now catching up with instant payment. It's something that we've been doing for years. And even now, it's probably much easier to transfer money from my account to dollars than to do that in the UK or Germany. So, I think we should look at these established systems that we have and find a way to leverage on our expertise to expand that into helping intra-African trade. The federal government remains dedicated to enhancing the essential infrastructure, regulatory frameworks, and partnerships to ensure that Nigeria is not only ready for digital trade, but also continues to lead. I appreciate the efforts of all stakeholders present here this morning and urge us all to work towards moving AfCFTA beyond the continental agreement to the 3.5 trillion trade juggernaut that will reinvigorate our factories, open up trapped intracontinental businesses and trade opportunities, and domesticate African prosperity. Thank you all very much, and I wish you a very productive session.
Thank you very much, Deputy Chief of Staff, sir. But please, I'd like to beg you, would need you for just a few minutes on the stage for a photograph and, of course, for the launch of this research. Please, we'd like the key stakeholders to join His Excellency on stage. We'd like the special advisor, please, the SA, ODI Global, PalmPay, kindly help us move the podium. Yes. the DGs of the different agencies to also please join on stage for this group photograph. All the federal MDAs here present, representatives of the DGs, kindly join for the group photograph. We have more research copies. Please, I'd like one of the ushers to help us do the distribution. We have more on that table. Kindly help us do the distribution, please. All our partners, I hope we are all on stage for this group photograph. You have to, because you can be captured. Okay. All right, I think we're good. Ushers, please help us distribute some of those copies on the table, please. Okay, I understand that we can reorganize this. So some people at the edge can please come down, just so we can accommodate more people, to make it more organized. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, let's be fast as possible, just so that the Deputy Chief of Staff can attend to all the business of state. All right. All right, pictures, are we ready? I hear that AI can do many things now, so of course this picture can also be adjusted. So let's do video to make it better. So I'm going to say cross-border digital payments, and you add by saying and identity in Nigeria. Can we do that? All right, cross-border digital payments. All right. Quick one. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Your Excellency, Senator Hadejia. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining us for this launch. And of course, all the key partners, thank you. Thank you. We're now moving on to the panel session. I'd like the tech guys to please help us get the stage organized for the panel session. We'd like all the chairs upstage. And because of other pressing state matters, like I mentioned, we'd like everyone to please sit. Like I mentioned, the Deputy Chief of Staff would be leaving us just to attend to other pressing state matters. Everyone kindly sit down as he makes his way out. Thank you. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you for your time. All right, it's now time for the technical session. We're having a brief panel discussion. And this panel discussion is on opportunities and challenges in cross-border payments and digital identity under AfCFTA. So as we get the stage organized for that, I'll quickly mention those who are a part of this panel discussion. Just to let you know that in today's world, countries do not compete only with natural resources. They compete with digital infrastructure, innovation, and ideas. And that's what makes this conversation very important as we talk about cross-border digital payments and identity in Nigeria under the AfCFTA. And just to mention that AfCFTA is not just a trade agreement. It is Africa's blueprint for economic transformation. And Nigeria is not just the giant of Africa in population, but in innovation, creativity, and digital entrepreneurship. And that's how we're taking the lead in this conversation. You know what they say, the best way to predict the future is to build it. That's what we're doing in the room today. Everyone, was shaping Nigeria's digital economy and Africa digital trade future. All right, I see the stage is set. Now time to make welcome our panel discussants. And I would like the representatives of these organizations to please step forward. The representative from NIDA, please a round of applause as he comes up stage. Representative of NIDA, thank you. And also the representative from NIMSI would also come up stage. A round of applause for him. I'd also like to make welcome representative from NAC AfCFTA. A round of applause. And yes, also a part of the team is a representative from NDPC. NDPC. Please let's celebrate her as she comes forward. A representative from the SME sector. I'm sure that has been, the representative is aware of that. Okay, let's celebrate her as she comes forward. I like this panel. It's balanced. Is it really balanced? 3 men, 2 women. Is that a balanced panel? Okay, someone said it's fair. Lola, what do you think? Okay, it's fair. Oh, you're joining too. Okay, great. All right. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. You're the panel moderator, I guess, Lola? Okay. Please, a round of applause for Lola as she comes forward. Let's celebrate her. Yes, you can say Lola or you can say Lola. I told her my Nigerian blood would not allow me to say Lola, but I mean, let's celebrate her one more time. In case you haven't read about her, she's one of the young women who is doing so much in her space. One of the under 40 CEOs in Africa. Oh, yes, celebrate her some more. Please pay rapt attention to this panel session, please.
Is this one working? Hello, hello. Is this working? Great. So I can keep this one. Okay. Good morning. It's a real pleasure to be here. It's been a long journey to this report and all the work that's been happening, so I'm really pleased to be here. So, may I ask, even before I go into the introduction of the panel, I would like each member to please just introduce yourself in one minute or less, starting at the end with the lady from the SMEs. Thank you. Oh, is it working? Oh. Is yours working?
No. Testing. Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Peter Nwabogo. I am a coordinator at the Nigeria AfCFTA Coordination Office, and I lead the Market Intelligence Unit. Thank you.
Fantastic. Welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Engineer Salus Kaka, Director, E-Governments and Digital Economy Department of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ibukunoluwa Owa. I work at the Nigeria Data Protection Commission, where I head the Regulations Unit. Thank you for inviting the Commission to this panel.
Good morning, all. My name is Dr. Peter Iwebu. I'm a director in charge of car management services in NIMSI.
Welcome.
Good morning, House. Good morning, everyone. My name is Habiba Ewaziri. I'm the managing director at BGR Consulting, currently operating in Nigeria, Ghana, and Rwanda.
Fantastic. Please give them a round of applause, please. So I will just do a short introduction for us to really understand the importance of what we're doing here today. In Africa, intra-African trade in itself is just about 15%. If you look in other continents like Europe, Asia, they're all about 55% and above. And it just tells you the journey that we need to get to, and even hopefully beyond. For trade to happen, there needs to be an exchange of a number of things: goods, services, data, money. And for all that to happen, there must be trust, right? And I think that is where this is extremely critical, the topic and the report, which is cross-border digital payments and identity, because without these, it's going to be very difficult for trade to happen. So on that note, I'll start with my first question, and this is for the NAC, AfCFTA. And the question is, how has Nigeria strategically leveraged AfCFTA's frameworks to accelerate seamless cross-border digital payments while protecting national economic interests?
Okay, thank you very much. In the course of the conversation today, I've actually heard quite interesting things which already address this question from our partner at ODI, who has already pointed out the realities that we have today, especially with PAPs and other frameworks that we have running. So the Nigerian approach under AfCFTA is quite deliberate. And we are opening up to a lot of change while also trying to retain control and ensure that it's within our regulatory framework. So on the digital payments, in the digital payment space, the CBN is playing a very, very critical role in ensuring that we do not derail from critical regulations that protect us. So when you talk about the national interest aspect, that's one critical thing that we're doing. There's also the importance that we are giving to the fact that we just don't want to participate, but we also want to lead the process. So we're seeing this happen already with respect to, a lot of initiatives that we've been doing. Number one is, like our partner at ODI already alluded to, Nigerian banks are already onboarded to the PAPs framework. And I believe many of us here know what PAPs is, the Pan-African Payment and Settlement System. And today, you can go on your banking app and make a transfer to Ghana if your bank is already onboarded. I know at least 7 Nigerian banks are already on the system. That's quite impressive compared to many other countries that ought to be on the system. So in leveraging the digital system, we are doing quite a lot, and we're not just doing this so it sounds good, but we're also doing it so it enables the Nigerian businesses, and not even just the large conglomerates, but even the MSMEs. The special advisor on MSMEs and job creation already pointed out a lot of critical things that we're trying to address. Number one is that 6.2% of these businesses do export. With this kind of system in place, we're going to be seeing a larger number of them, a larger percentage of them rather, doing a lot more exports. We're already saying that they're not doing exports today, but the bulk of it is in the informal space. So we're trying to move it from informal to formal and as well scale that export rate. He also pointed out that 60% have access to digital facility. With our policies and the initiatives that we're putting in place and deliberate action being taken, you will find that a very high number would have access to these facilities and also take advantage of them. You know, it's one thing to have access, it's another thing to take advantage. And, okay, so one of the things that we've done to also support this is that we already have over 200 digital services entities, firms, whom we have already, we have them in a data bank who are ready to take advantage of these systems as we roll them out. And it's not an end point, but rather a starting point. And on protecting national interest again, there is also where we look at balancing the roles and balancing the benefits. So the CBN, like I stated earlier, is critical to making this happen. And they are on top of it. I think I saw someone from the CBN here earlier. They're on top of it and doing a lot. We are aware that recently they won an award for Best Central Bank, I don't know if it's in Africa or globally, but that's to show you how much they've been doing in making this happen. So there's a lot of synergy. My colleagues here on the panel are representatives of entities who play critical roles, and this goes to show that it's not a one-man, or rather, it's not a single entity role. It requires collaboration and synergy, and I believe we are doing a lot in that respect. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And from what I hear, he's agreeing with the fact that I think Nigeria, we want to be at the forefront of this. And for it to happen, there needs to be collaboration. We need to work together to make this an even stronger reality. Thank you very much for that. I'm moving on to the next panelist from NIDDA. And I would say that, of course, there's been extensive research. We've also engaged some of the, in fact, most of the stakeholders here before coming about the report. So when I ask you, please just give us maybe the key one from the findings of the report and also from what's actually happening on ground to just tell us what you think is the strongest point when I ask the question. Thank you very much. So the question is, what role should digital standards and interoperable frameworks play in ensuring that Nigeria's digital infrastructure supports scalable and secure cross-border identity and payment systems? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that question. And I think without any hesitation, I can quickly respond to the last question you asked. What are the key things out of this report?
Yes.
And for me, really, what is at the core is those two words you mentioned, the technical standards and interoperability. Let me paint a picture that's not technical so that at least we have that understanding. Let us see technical standard in interoperability beyond technical tools. Let's see them in the broader context as core foundational elements that lay the foundation for a digital transformations to move with ease. Because the blood that leads to all this we are conversing is the outcome of a digital transformation. For any country to deliver service digitally, which is part of what we are discussing here, we need to digitally transform. And if we're able to compare environments, an IT environment where this technical standard exists, this interoperability exists with that environment also where those doesn't exist, you can clearly see the impact, you can clearly see the benefit, you can clearly see the odds. Where it doesn't exist, the IT environments tend to suffer from a fragmented IT infrastructure. You have information systems, data, resources lying across various platforms where leveraging these resources sometimes becomes difficult and even sometimes not possible to. So the end result is the IT environment will keep repeating itself because we end up having fragmented networks, fragmented infrastructure, fragmented systems that they don't talk to each other, lying in silos. And the end result, of course, is the cost of investment is going to be very high. And another end result is that service delivery is not only going to be inefficient, it's also going to be ineffective because most of the times, those information that lie in silos, they cannot be leveraged with ease. And as long as we cannot leverage them with that ease, we can't deliver service real time, we can't deliver service to be effective, and we can't deliver service to be efficient. So it's important for an IT environment to have this technical standard, to have this interoperability, to at least drive these three key things: scalability, sustainability, security, and privacy by design. So when we have these, we end up having an integrated systems where networks, systems, information can talk to themselves with ease. So a very serious country that needs to ensure that it has this integrated platform needs to take this technical standard interoperability with all seriousness that matters. Because with them, we'll be able to tie down the three foundational rails that provide digital public infrastructure: the national identity, the payments platform, and the data exchange. So I'm happy to report Nigerian governments, through the effort of the Federal Ministry of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, along with all the critical stakeholders, some of us are here already, we have embarked on this journey as early as way back 2023. We are lucky to have the national identity systems through the National Identity Management Commission that is globally recognized, of a running and almost near compatible to be converted to full digital public infrastructure for leverage. We have a payment platforms, Nigerian Interbank Settlement System, that is also adjudged one of the best globally. And of recent, I think they upgrade the NIBS platform to Nigerian financial stack. A stack is the wider and broader context. So the missing rail that doesn't exist as we speak in the country is the National Data Exchange. Data exchange exists, but as I said earlier, implemented in silos, maybe peer-to-peer or direct-to-direct data sharing of information. So the ministry, through the agencies, is establishing the Nigerian Data Exchange. So we'll have these three tied down through an interoperability framework that's already issued out, which was revised in 2022 under the e-Government Master Plan 2.0. The interoperability framework defines the minimal technical standard that can guarantee this scalability, this security, and of course, portability of resources across this. So we are on the right course, and we believe that sooner or later, when we launch the National Data Exchange, which I think the target is Q1 of this year, is going on board. So NIN is already there, payment platform is already there, so we only need to have an exchange, tie them together, then we have a full functional DPI that is interoperable, that is compatible with technology, because it's promoting open standard, open APIs, so that seamless integrations, seamless backward compatibility of technology will be made. And so I believe we are on the right course, and we're sure that at least a bit of little tweaking to see that we connect with this Africa Free Continental Trade Area by ensuring that, for example, if NIMSI, I don't know whether they're doing that, but I believe it's in the past of their own activity, to see that we have a regional recognition of this NIMSI national identity number by adopting global technical standards, so that at least cross-border recognition of this digital ID will be there. The payment platform are already doing that. That's why they upgrade their platform to national payment stack, so that at least that regional and global recognition will be there. So that at least, I read in a research, the global IFI digital trade is to the tune of $712 billion US. That's the projection by 2035 is expected to read that. But you just even mentioned here that the inter-African trade is less than 15%. Yeah. So you can imagine what we are cutting out of the 712 billion. Only 15% we are having. So we have to do a lot. Meaning greater part of the digital trade is with our other African, non-African countries than it is with African countries. And I also read in another research that the remittance, global remittance to Nigeria is over $20 billion. And this comes at a rate, interest rates, sometimes two-digit interest. And this is because we have this fragmented infrastructure. Even our policies are fragmented. Even our regulations are fragmented. So we need to work toward ensuring that we have integrated regulations, integrated infrastructure, and integrated policy framework across the region, so that at least we can explore the opportunity in the picture. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that submission. And I think you're spot on. The challenges are around standards and interoperability, and I'm happy to hear that, just as we said in the report, that we're on a journey. What I hear is the digital public infrastructure will be also key to helping us achieve this. Some of the problems are around silos, but again, once we harmonize, then we can actually really move forward. Thank you very much for that submission. I'll move on to NIMSI. I made a statement that for us to trade, there must be trust. And we believe that the digital identity is going to be key within Africa to really help us trust each other. Because when you can trust, when you know who you're trading with, then you can also enforce even penalties around challenges when people trade. So the question for NIMSI is, how can Nigeria's national digital identity system be integrated across borders to enable trust, verification, and financial inclusion for the AfCFTA member states?
Okay. Thank you very much for the question. Hello? Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for the question. And before I answer your question, I would just like to take us back to the report.
Yes.
In the report that was presented to us, one key recurring statement was the fact that identity is the foundation for everything you are doing.
Yes.
And it means that for you to have any relationship, be it transactional, be it casual, you need to know who you are dealing with. You need to be assured that you are talking to the right person. So therefore, identity provides the foundation for anything we're going to do, not just for global trade, not just for trade, for any relationship. So for us in NIMSI, our responsibility to provide the foundation identity. And I say foundation identity cannot be two versions. There can only be one version of me. And that version of me enables me to be able to relate with people and be identified and verified at any point in time. So the intersection between digital ID and cross-border payments is critical because it gives you the right assurance, you can verify the person, it gives you confidence that you are dealing with the right person. It first of all streamlines your KYC requirement. How do you engage the customer? Who are you dealing with? Are you sure it's the right person, whether be it a corporate, be it individual? You can identify the person. And added to it also is that it also helps you when you are dealing across the country, you can be able to provide a verifiable information. Verified information means at any point in time you can call up information and verify the person. So in NIMSI, we have today over 121 million Nigerians that have a unique identity. Like I mentioned earlier, that unique identity enables you to say who you are. You cannot be two versions. So it gives whoever is relating with you, be it across any country in the world, to be assured that I'm talking to the right person. And a platform exists where you can digitally verify this person through different parameters that we provided to you. So if you are in Accra, you are dealing with someone in Nigeria, you can digitally verify and be assured that the person you are dealing with is exactly what the person is. You don't want to deal with somebody who says a Mecca today, tomorrow it becomes Musa, the next tomorrow it becomes Shegu. You are sure that you are dealing with the right person that you are dealing with. So it provides that KYC requirement. It's also, we have also introduced a platform that enables you to verify these identities, because identity is only considered valid when the owner of that identity gives you the consent and assures you that that identity is who I am. It's not the identity you harvest through the AI on the way and use it. We have also introduced a platform that enables you as the owner of the identity to give consent. Whoever wants to use your identity, you can give that consent. We have what we call the NIN-OAuth. The NIN-OAuth enables the owner of the identity to verify, to give consent to the use of that data, and that's available globally. Anybody doing business across Africa or across the world can use that to verify and confirm that the right person is dealing with. It also reduces fraud, because one of the things I've also identified is that identity theft is real. People can take your identity and use it to commit and do transactions across the board. So this NIN-OAuth and the digital platform that NIMSI provides enables you to give an assured identity at any time T. Further to that is that in terms of interoperability, because we do know that fintechs are deploying solutions, they're trying to use digital platform to provide solutions to people. And for you to be able to provide that, the foundation for any relationship, be it financial, be it economical, is identity. So that platform we have created, we have API warehouse we have created to enable fintech to connect and be able to verify identity so they can give a short identity to anybody they're doing trade with. And finally, in terms of financial inclusion, one of the things we've also identified is that it's one for you to have an identity. What we are providing is therefore is to use the identity, your NIN, your national identification number, to become a tool for financial and economic inclusion. We recognize the fact that because of the peculiarity of Nigeria today, a lot of infrastructural limitations has limited a lot of Nigerians to be able to participate in the digital economy. And what we are creating, therefore, is an online, offline, NIN-enabled collateral that enables people to be able to participate without necessarily relying on I don't want to say unreliable network, but networks are not across the different corners of the country. So where it's unreliable, the offline NIN enable collateral that we're providing, enables people to participate in trade, in relationship, financial payment, without necessarily have to wait for connectivity. So finally, I would also like to point out that in this, our journey, I recognize the fact that identity cannot be two different versions. It cannot be that, oh, he has identified me with driver's license, identified with my voter's card, identified me with my BVN. There can only be one foundation identity, and that foundation identity is what national identification number provides. Every other identity we are going to provide is a functional identity that must sit on foundational identity. So I want to appeal to fintech or regulators or operators in this industry to recognize the fact that NIN is your foundation identity, and that's the only way we can assure ourselves that there's only one unique identifier for whoever you are dealing with, so that you don't have a different face in all these functional identities. So if once we integrate that across the board, it makes inter-Africa trade seamless, because I can identify the person with that one unique identification number that's been provided. In the report, it was pointing about, it mentioned the fact that the rest of Africa, the world must recognize one unique identity. As far as we are concerned in Nigeria, the only unique identification that is recognized as foundation is your national identification number. On the back of it, you can provide functional identification. So when we are building systems, we must recognize it. We must let the people know that the only way we can recognize and we are sure that we can verify the person we are dealing with is through the national identification number.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments. And I think what I hear is, for us to really establish an identity framework for Africa, we must first start with our own country. And what we have now is a foundation. But I think the key thing is it can be scalable. Hopefully it can be interoperable as well, so that it can connect to other countries. Thank you very much for that. I'll move now to NDPC, the National Data Protection Council. And the question is, with increasing cross-border data flows, how can Nigeria balance data protection compliance with the need for efficient digital trade and payments across Africa? Thank you.
Thank you very much for that very important question. So before I start, I think I would want to just give a practical scenario to just bring things home, and then I'll answer the question in detail. So let's imagine a situation under the AfCFTA. So for example, you have a Kenyan company that provides digital software, for example, ERP, that has a payroll system also integrated to Nigerian companies. And a Nigerian company, actually based on AfCFTA, decides to trade with that company and use their software. If there is no compliance, what happens is that you then have a situation where you have a software that is not fully compliant and is not secure. So basically, employees of that particular Nigerian company can be subject to identity theft and fraud as well, in the sense that their accounts can be hacked, their images or identities used for something else, both in Kenya and Nigeria. So that's just to draw the importance of compliance to you. Now I'll go into how we try to balance compliance, but in a way that ensures digital trade, and how Nigeria is the perfect mature market for that. And I'll do that in 3 different steps. So the first one is more high level, and that's the Digital Trade Protocol. So if you look at Digital Trade Protocol, what it does is that it creates a legal framework for all countries under the AfCFTA to adopt to enable efficient digital trade. And there are 4 key principles I would like to bring out there. The first one is mutual recognition and interoperability. Now, the benefit of this is that, for example, my senior colleague from NIMSI has spoken a lot about digital identity. It's important to ensure that if I am trading with, if I as a Nigerian company, I'm trading with a Ghana company, I'm able, the same ID is also verifiable in Ghana and is given the same level of recognition is given in Nigeria as well. And then we have systems and laws that are interoperable so that we're able to easily do business in a way that is seamless. The second one is protection of personal data, and that's where the Nigeria Data Protection Commission comes in. What the trade protocol says is that every single country must have a data protection authority with a law that is enforceable. And what this means is that within every single country under the AfCFTA, you now have a system that enables protection of personal data. If we actually bring the AfCFTA home, at the core of it is just movement of data. Sometimes it's personal data, other times it's not. So we need to ensure that wherever this data is moving to, it's well protected. The next one is cross-border data transfer. If we're talking about movement of data between borders and we can't effectively move data across borders, then the whole aim is not achieved. And so you see that in digital trade protocol, there is a particular provision that says that there should be allowance for efficient cross-border data transfer that facilitates digital trade. And then the last core principle has to do with digital identity and payment, which I've spoken about, so I won't say much on that. Now, if we bring that home and we take it now to the annexes of digital trade protocol, you have two key annexes that I'm going to refer to today. That's one on cross-border data payment and one on cross-border data transfer. The one on cross-border data transfer, it has provided certain principles that every single country under the AfCFTA must have in their digital protection laws. So one of them is the principles of data processing. This means that if you're processing my data, you should do it in a way that is transparent. I'm able to know why you're processing it. I know how you store it. I know where you send my data to. And I also know how to complain about my data. There's also a principle of data minimization, meaning only take what you need from me for a particular service. There's purpose limitation. There is security, which is very important, meaning that as you're moving data across borders, let it be secure. I don't want a situation where a company like the example I referred to, a Nigerian company trading with a Kenyan company, and based on that, most of my employees are now susceptible to identity theft and fraud. You need to ensure that there's security measures in place. And all of these things are already in the Nigeria Data Protection Act, also privacy by design and default. So just to show you how, like, when it comes to legal framework, we already have it. Now, what are we doing back home to ensure that people are actually complying with this law and is done in a way that doesn't serve as a barrier to international trade? The first one I would say is awareness. So we're raising awareness on our law, and we've actually done this with the AfCFTA Nigerian office. I remember that before the digital trade protocol was actually finalized, we actually attended workshops, and then we provided inputs on our law and just the protocol in general, and how to ensure that businesses actually comply with that. And in that way, we're now raising awareness and telling companies that this is the law in Nigeria. For you to do trade with Nigeria, you have to comply as well. But we're not doing it in a way where we're being forceful. We're actually training and raising awareness on it. The second one is the very important one, which is capacity building. So there's a lot of capacity building that needs to be done, and because of this, we're going to work closely with the Nigerian AfCFTA office. There are already conversations, for example, regarding the Nigerian Trade Data Intelligence Portal, how to ensure that this particular portal that allows companies in countries outside Nigeria that want to do business with Nigeria, they're able to identify markets within the AfCFTA group as to where they can sell their products. But this portal would involve a lot of movement and processing of data. So we are working to them to ensure that that particular portal is data protection compliant. We are also working with them to ensure that there are workshops for SMEs, for them to understand what are the core basic compliance requirements to comply with our law, to ensure that whatever data you are moving is actually secure, it's safe, and is done in a way that is seamless. So another thing that we are doing as well is conducting webinars. About a month ago, we conducted a webinar with the Ministry of Communications, Digital Economy and Innovation regarding data protection compliance. So just to break it down to SMEs, SMEs that want to trade with other countries within Nigeria and then outside Nigeria, as to what the particular laws are regarding data protection and how they can comply with these laws. And one of the main one is our regulation on cross-border data transfer. Under the Act, you are not allowed to transfer data outside Nigeria without actually seeking approval from the Commission. Now, this particular area of the law is one where we have seen that there is a very low level of compliance, and that's why you see that we're here today, because events like this actually help us to raise awareness on what the law says. And what we do in this particular workshop is to explain to people why you need to get the Commission's approval. So to not just see it as a regulatory burden, but as something that actually enhances your business. If people know that if I trade with this particular company, I am sure that my data will be secure. I wouldn't see my data being used for things that I did not give approval for. There's a certain level of customer satisfaction and also competition that you would have against other businesses that are not complying. So we train people and teach them about the benefits of that as well, and also why they need to comply with the act. And we do this through various means. That's approving international contracts, binding corporate rules, code of conduct, and all of that. But another thing that we believe that Nigeria can do, sorry, it's just really important, that we believe Nigeria can do in this particular moment, and just to ensure seamless trade, is that there can be agreements between particular countries. So countries, for example, now let's say Kenya, for example, where we've seen that they also have a data protection authority that is quite vibrant, they're very competent, they have a law. There can be an agreement that says that, okay, if you're moving data between Nigeria and Kenya, because of this agreement, it should be allowed. So basically, both governments have sat down to come up with a framework that says that there should be seamless transfer of trade between these two countries, because we've seen that they are both adequate jurisdictions. We've also entered into MOUs with Sweden as well. So
don't worry, we will. I think it's fantastic to see the efforts and all the work ongoing, and I'm sure we'll have some more opportunities after to engage. And I hope I think we covered some of them in the report. But honestly, thank you so much. Even you mentioned the bilateral agreements. I mean, there's the recent, I think it's between, Ghana and Rwanda, a regulatory fintech passporting, so that when you register in one country, you can actually be automatically registered in the other. So you're definitely spot on there. Thank you so very much. Sorry to cut you. Because our time is almost up, but I've left last but not the least. And these are the SMEs in the room. These are the people who are on ground, really trading and making it happen. You've seen the reports already, at least bits of it. You've heard the panel. So I would ask you, maybe you should tell us one key thing that you think needs to happen that would allow you and other fellow SMEs really trade better in relation to digital payments and identity. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I think the report has given, congratulations first to the teams behind the report. I think it has given a very critical entry point on how you can perceive digital trade across the continent. From an MSME perspective around Africa, one of the major challenges that I didn't see a lot, it's really an under-discussed topic across multiple forums. Sorry, AfCFTA, I'm going to throw you under the bus. But this is around mobility and market access. It is such a critical conversation right now because you have the AU passport, you have the PAPS payment, which is fantastic, but has not yet been adopted down to the founders. When you have a brilliant strategy like PAPS, your adoption strategy must be mass markets, right? There's areas where businesses like PalmPay could fix, but there's also critical areas that PAPS has the technical infrastructure to lay out a foundation and a plan. Then, of course, you go into compliance and trust, and then you go into the FX barriers. It's a lot. But I want to stick with mobility and market access just because intra-African travel is key to scaling, specifically around women and how women, women are about, 60–70% of informal trade across the continent. So if we focus on a fragmented system that currently works in silos, like one of my colleagues mentioned here, then you're building upstream solutions, but the downstream solutions just simply are not feasible at scale. And across the continent, if you're spending a lot of time, money, resources, and effort, the most important thing you want to happen is adoption at scale. Because we already have a lot of differences. We have the differences in all these other thank you everyone on the panel for speaking on different facets. So we already have all these differences, but fundamentally, some of these challenges that we face, there's one or two uniform ones. And if we can get the MSMEs and the startups, the innovators, the creators, the builders, the founders to adopt these methods at scale, then you don't have that much, you don't need to spend that much on other things. So I would pick mobility and market access. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. A round of applause to the panel. A round of applause to the panel. Sorry, our time is up. We'll have some more engagements. And I think the key thing I hear is for this to happen, everyone needs to be involved. Perhaps it's not going to solve all the problems. There's opportunities for the fintechs. There's opportunities for everyone here to actually play their part. So on that note, I would like to say thank you once again. Standing on existing protocols, thank you to the Office of the Vice President through Dr. Saliu, ODI Global. It's been an honor and a pleasure working with the team to bring this report to life. And thank you for all those who've participated as well, those who've also come from far, Lagos, Interswitch, PalmPay. Thank you so much, everyone. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take a group picture.
Thank you very much, Lola. Group photograph before you step down. Thank you so much to all the panelists. I'm sure you enjoyed this session. Please, another round of applause for them. Thank you, Lola, for a great job. And of course, the panelists and all the organizations here represented. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Another round of applause for them. I'm sure you would agree that from policy to implementation. Okay. Okay, ODI Global would like to join. SA ICT policy, would you like to join? Yeah, I think it would be complete if you join. Should I? Ahmed also joined. Please, a round of applause for them. Well done. Great work. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. All right, I'm sure you'd agree that from policy to innovation to implementation, today's conversation connects the entire ecosystem. And so much has been said, and I know that so much will be done away from this room, and Nigeria would benefit at the end of the day. It's time to go. Yes, and just before I forget, someone must place his signed check. Wow, I just wish I could change this to my name. All right, so in case you're looking for a standard chartered signed check, I'm not going to give you the details, so you just meet the SA ICT policy. He would, if you cannot give us the exact details and the number on this check, you have to resign it in my name. All right, thank you everyone. So it's time to go. Just to let you know that lunch is served, but just before that, we need to get closing remarks, and to do that for us is the one and only Lola. Please, a round of applause for her as she comes forward.
Very short. Good. Good afternoon, or still morning. Good morning again. I stand on the existing protocol once again. On behalf of the Office of the Vice President, ODI Global, all our partners that worked with us on the research, AfriBorder, Africa International Trade Commerce, Kickoff Africa, we would like to say a huge thank you for your support and participation for this project. It's been a long journey for ODI. I think it started about 3 years ago. And I personally believe that it's been one of the key reasons why we've been able to achieve so much. So I'll extend our appreciation beyond to the SITA team as well. This digital trade in itself is a key project. They say that one of the sure routes to economic prosperity is through trade. And we all know that trade and digital is really the future. So thank you for your participation. I know I've seen people here that participated in the sub-national training, the policy roundtables. Just thank you, thank you, thank you. Please read the reports, share the reports, come back with questions, come back with contributions. Thank you once again. Enjoy your lunch.
All right, so thank you, Lola. It's time to go. Thank you, everyone. Conversations like this shape policies, and policies shape nations. Thank you. Have a great day. And of course, see you some other time. God bless you, and God bless Nigeria.